Welcome to The Explainer. We're all about taking big, complex ideas and making them simple and actionable. And today, we're going to cut right through all the noise and find a surprisingly simple shortcut to being a truly effective leader.
I mean, think about it for a second. There are literally thousands of books, endless seminars, and all these competing theories on leadership. It's often presented as this mythical, impossibly complex skill. You know, you're told you need to have this grand vision, a bulletproof strategy, off-the-charts emotional intelligence. The list just goes on. And honestly, it's pretty overwhelming.
But what if we've been overcomplicating the whole thing? Seriously. What if the real heart of great leadership isn't some huge checklist of personality traits, but something much more basic? What if we could boil it all down?
Okay, so what's the big secret? Well, the source material we're diving into today suggests that it all comes down to just two. That's it. Not 20, not 10, just two core principles.
And here they are. We're calling them the charisma catalyst and the motivation engine. Now, these are the two pillars that, when you put them together, they create this incredibly powerful leadership dynamic. So let's break them down one by one.
So, first up, the charisma catalyst. Now, I know exactly what you're probably thinking. Charisma, right? That's about being this magnetic, larger-than-life person that everyone's drawn to. It's just something you're born with, or you're not. Well, let's just go ahead and throw that whole idea out the window.
Here's the core idea, and its power is just how simple it is. Real leadership charisma, according to our source, isn't about making yourself the center of the universe. No. It's about making every single person on your team feel genuinely, truly important. That just flips the whole script, doesn't it?
And what this does is it turns charisma from some random personality trait into a skill, something you can actually practice and get better at. So it's not about giving these grand, sweeping speeches. It's about the small stuff, the consistent actions, like really actively listening to someone, giving people credit for their ideas, out loud, and sincerely asking for their opinions and then actually using them. It's all about lifting up the people around you.
So that's our first pillar. You've created this environment where your team feels valued, they feel important. That's the fuel in the tank. But now, how do you get the car to actually start moving? That brings us to our second pillar, the motivation engine. So this pillar, it's built on a really cool psychological idea called the motivation work cycle. And the concept is pretty simple. Motivation doesn't just appear out of thin air. We have it backwards most of the time. Action actually creates motivation, not the other way around. Momentum is something you have to build, and it all starts with one tiny little act. And here's the playbook. It's so simple. You're facing some huge project, right? Don't even look at the mountaintop. Find the smallest, easiest, first possible step. Seriously, it could be as simple as create the shared Google Doc. Then you do it. And this part is absolutely crucial. You visibly cross it off a shared to-do list where everybody can see it. That single tiny act is the spark that triggers the whole group's momentum.
And please, do not underestimate the power of that first check mark. It is a huge visual signal to the entire team. It says, hey, we've started. Look, we're already making progress. We can do this. It just shatters that feeling of being stuck, and it creates this itch for the team to get that next check mark, and then the one after that.
Okay, so now we have our two pillars. The charisma catalyst, which makes people want to be part of the solution, and the motivation engine, which gives them a clear path to contribute. Now, on their own, they're both pretty powerful. But when you put them together, that's when they create this reinforcing loop that is the absolute core of this leadership shortcut. And this is where it all syncs up so perfectly. Your charisma catalyst. That creates trust and a willingness to jump in. People are ready to go. Then, right at that moment, you fire up the motivation engine by crossing off that first tiny task, and bam, you've got real, tangible momentum. A team that feels valued and sees progress, that team is pretty much unstoppable. So, look, if you take only one thing away from all of this, let it be this simple two-part mantra. Leadership does not have to be this big, complicated thing. Make your people feel important. And start small. That's it. That's the shortcut.
And that brings us to our final question for you. Because this isn't just some theory, right? It's a call to action. I want you to think about the biggest, hairiest project on your plate right now. Look at your team. What is the absolute smallest, simplest first task that you can go and cross off the list with them today?